While progressing in life, at times we feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage our time. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets tricky, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations of the academic front in college or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitri, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success.
Good evening, everyone. Uh, I will be taking you guys through the MentorMitr application. The first thing is the questionnaire. So we before you come to a counseling session with the mentor, there are specific screens, specific templates which you have to fill to let the mentor know what your goals and everything. So questionnaire is a template where we ask you some 20 to 25 questions to know about yourself. And so tracks and options where you get to choose, the tracks which are present. And this is to mentor know in which tracks you're interested. Mentor will guide you through which tracks are important and which might work out for you based on your interests. So after submitting some options, there is a sports track. So if you are interested in sports, you will be able to answer this question. You can answer about your favorite sports. What are your in the favorite sports? There are 5 questions designed to know about your sports. And after the sports track, there is a college track. This is to know where you wanted to join, like what is the name of the college you wanted to join, what is the syllabus the college needs, and the selection criteria for the college, and what do you need to achieve the required stuff, and what is the thing you need to improve. So after that, there are prior. So this is to let the mentor know what your priorities are. You could have different types of priorities. We have 4 different priorities. So you could click on here and you could enter your priorities. Let's say you have a priority to get a good score. So, and let's say it's an important priority and then generality. So there are types of priorities. So there are 4 different types: important and not urgent, important, urgent, not important, not urgent. So you could select any of them based on requirement, and then you could add it. So Here you'll be all your previously entered priorities. This is to let the mentor know what your priorities when you go to the counseling session. So after the priorities, there are goals and affirmations. So this is where you affirmation goal, and all of your goals are entered here, and all of your affirmations are entered. You could add your activities. So activities are basically what you do in the what you do in your regular size sports, movies. You could add your own, define your own activities which you do in a day, and then in the weekly timetable, what you do is you should define how your weeks looks like. So before going to the counseling session, the mentor will want to know how your week looks like. So let's say on Monday, as you see here, I have three samples. Is to add back from. So you add that school. The whole week you'll be able to week like each day of the week. So these are the templates which you will be filling before going into the counseling session. And then once you fill all these templates, you are ready to go to the counseling session for a mentor. So you can click on here and you can schedule a session with the mentor. So there are different types of sessions, and you could select any one of the sessions. You have 1 hour counseling session, short discussions and everything. So you could select one of the sessions and you could fill the date, like the date and timing of your sessions. Let's say I want a session tomorrow. I select the date. You see the time slots which are available. You can select the time slots. You can enter your name. You can enter your email, and you enter here and you can confirm your meeting. So once your meeting is confirmed, the MentorMitr team will get back to you on mail. Have any feedback about the mentor, about the session, you could give us feedback and we could improve on that. And after the session, what you'll do is you'll be entering, you will be giving the app your data based on which we'll be getting reports. We'll be assessing your performance and everything. So you could add your own subjects. Like if you're a school student or a college student, you have different courses. So you could enter your course name and you could enter your target in that course. Let's say you want to get 95%, and you could set your own targets in the subjects. And time tracker, you'll be letting us know what you're doing each day. So let's say on at 20 right now, I am giving a MentorMitr presentation. So you could define that in your activity and then come here and select that from your activity. Okay, so you'll be giving us all this data, and once we have all this data each week based on what you're doing, we'll be giving you the reports on your email. So these are the outputs which you'll be getting from the mentors. So when you go to a mentor after the question, looking at your time. So let's say you are spending 10 hours on, so how much time you should be spending on different activities in each week. So let's say the mentor wanted to spend your week like this. So you'll have an idea of how to distribute your time. So this is a bar graph showing that. And after the session, the mentor will be giving you suggestions, like the summary of the session. What are the suggestions you should be following and stuff. And in the grade section, you can enter your scores on each in each subject. Let's say in maths, I had an exam today, and I got 90 out of 100. You could have a record of that, and when you go to the mentor again, he'll be having a record of that. and we have a depiction of how you're performing in each subject. So you can see how the we'll have a bar graph so that you can see how your percentages are going. So these are specially for a work. There are the different. So the mentor will be able to fill a questionnaire where he'll tell us about his or her work life and everything related to work and everything. So similarly, his or her own priorities and goals and affirmations and a weekly timetable. Let's say a working professional has go to work and family time and stuff. So he'll be able to have his own weekly timetable defined for himself. So remaining everything would be the same for the school student and a working professional.
While progressing in life, at times you feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage your time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations of the academic front in college or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options by following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes, while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success. While progressing in life, at times you feel stuck due to the lack of knowledge of how to manage your time well. Deciding how to prioritize the different facets of daily self-management gets hectic, whether it's for school students, university students, or working people. The lack of motivation, a great amount of workload, and the expectations of the academic front in college or at one's workplace is draining for an individual. Under such circumstances, a helping hand can instruct and support us in setting the right direction for our goals. At MentorMitr, we engage with individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their potential and performance to optimum. Our involvement helps individuals to set the right goals and create options following an objective process, thereby enabling them to define and manage their priorities. We help them generate self-awareness and teach them how to prioritize their time effectively. We also enhance their emotional quotient with techniques like mind mapping and dealing with success and failure to reinforce their goals and processes while also grooming them with soft skills that are necessary for the competitive selection process, thus making them confident and prepared for success.
I would like to start off with an introduction of MentorMitr. MentorMitr is a mentoring organization. Our aim is to guide individuals wherever they are in their journey of career development and help them learn life skills to manage complex situations while enhancing their academic performance to optimal. Our involvement helps students to set the right goals and enables them to define and manage their priorities as well as enhance their EQ. I would like to go over the steps to avail the e-certificate. You are required to attend the full webinar. Once you see the thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on your mail for the details. Follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on striking. Hello, everybody. Sorry for that. Good evening and welcome to today's webinar on anxiety management and importance of counseling. This session will be led by established professionals, Ms. Anchal Chatrat Alak, Ms. Aroba Kabir, and Ms. Asta Anand. Please feel free to leave your questions in the chat box and we will try to answer them. Our first speaker for the evening is Miss Anchal Chatrat Alak. Miss Anchal is a licensed expert in clinical psychology with 3 years of experience in the field and seasoned psychotherapist and counselor with 5 years of experience dedicated to serving patients in a meaningful way, listening to their concerns and helping them approach their mental, emotional, and behavioral problems. She has the experience of setting up and heading the child psychology unit, addressing personal and social needs of children, and training them into healthy behavioral patterns, and has successfully conducted workshops on life skills and positive psychology with students, helping them lead a more promising life with humanity being the core belief. I would now request ma'am to please enlighten our audience.
Thank you, Nidhi, for such a lovely introduction. I would first like to thank the organization for actually arranging such and organizing such a nice, webinar on a topic of anxiety. This is one of the issues which is absolutely alarming in these days. Okay, so I would actually like to start with one example here. Okay, and so I would want you people to really focus on the examples and the details that I will be giving here. That um, so, for example, there's this girl named Radha, okay, and she has a party to attend. So she is deciding on what to wear, but then she's getting very, very restless. She's very nervous about, that she has to leave in, in like 4 hours. She's starting to feel nauseous. She is not able to, decide. There's a lot of confusion in deciding the clothes that she has to wear. There's a lot of confusion in, you know, um, how she will talk to other people. She is feeling so nervous that even if she'll be able to talk or not, or even if she will be able to look good or not. So there's a lot of worry in her behavior. Okay. And then, so now now she's feeling extremely nauseous. There's really like a lot of, palpitations. There's a lot of sweating. This all is happening before the party. Once she reaches the party, she is feeling very, nervous again. And there's this person who comes and meets her, and one of her really old friend. And the person comes and talks, but then she has talks about a lot of, a very interesting topic in terms of her career. She has a lot of opinions. She has a lot of ideas, but then she's not able to put that forward. Okay, she's not able to explain the right things. She's not able to express her own ways of, how she conducts herself and what is her opinion. And at the end of the conversation, she feels defeated. She's very, very embarrassed at how she was able to, how she was not able to answer a lot of questions. Yeah, and every time she, now this was a scene of a party, but every time she goes for an interview or she goes for some work or there's a new social situation that she has to go into, there's a lot of nervousness. There's a lot of worry of how she is going to conduct herself. Okay. And slowly and gradually, what has started to happen that there's so much worry, there's so much nervousness, there's so much restlessness, and a lot of, not only like psychologically, there are a lot of changes that she's feeling, but also physically, like palpitation, sweating, nauseous, all of these feelings that she has started to feel. So now, slowly and gradually, she started to avoid the social situations. Now she prefers staying at home. And in fact, not only in social situations in terms with new social situations like parties or some interviews, but also that she stopped going to her work. She stopped going to her very close relatives. She stopped going out with friends. Now, what Radha is suffering here is anxiety disorder. That is why I started at the note where anxiety is very, very alarming. And I'm very happy with the organization that, they have chosen such a right topic in this particular time. And so, anxiety is that common that one in every 14 has anxiety. A lot of, a lot of money, like 40, in a research, it was saying that 42 billion is spent on anxiety, which is a very big amount all over the world, which is 42 billion. So, which is, you know, in a way understood that this is, a very, very alarming stage. Also, the impact anxiety disorder will have on anybody's life is not limited to just, let's say, sleep getting affected, the body getting affected, but also relationships are getting affected. The work is getting affected. People are not able to concentrate. There's a lot of problem with concentration. There's a lot of problem with, they're not able to remember a lot of things because there's, the attention span goes very low. There's a lot of problems because, they have a lot of irritation, a lot of aggression inside because of what they are suffering. So a lot of problems in the relationships. Yeah. So we have to understand that what is anxiety here. Before understanding that, moving further to the management, we should understand what is anxiety. Okay. And the difference between, so what can be the anxiety? Like, is it like some sensation? Is it some personality that we have? Is it, coming from innate that we're born with it? What is it? So we have to understand that first, what is anxiety? So here in my talk, we will first understand what is anxiety. What is the difference between clinical anxiety and a normal anxiety? When is anxiety helpful and when is anxiety not helpful? Okay. And I will conclude with certain management techniques and certain ways of building the coping that will help us lower down and decrease anxiety that we are going through. Okay. So first, understanding that what is anxiety and the difference between clinical and normal anxiety. So I'll give you an example here. I'll explain you with an example. So, for example, we all are, in a jungle, okay? And there's a lion that comes our way, and we see a lion coming our way. Now, in that particular situation, imagine yourself, okay? There's a lion coming your way. Now, here, you would have two, three different things. One, physically, your heart gets to, your heart starts palpitating. You start sweating. You start getting nervous. You start getting, you know, somewhere dizzy also. You're not able to make a decision. You're not able to concentrate on one thought. All you're doing is you're worrying, and there's a lot of tension. Okay, so now this is what is a normal anxiety. Okay, when you have, now listen to this very carefully, when you have a fear around you, which is there's a genuine fear, there's a general danger basically, then if you're feeling these symptoms, it is absolutely normal. Okay, but when when there's no danger and still you're feeling these emotions where you're feeling the physical changes like what I mentioned here, and you're feeling psychological. So there are two things here. One, physical symptoms like palpitation, sweating, nausea, um, dizziness, uh, sweating. So all of these are physical symptoms of anxiety. Okay, and the psychological is a lot of worry, which is constant worry, constant preoccupation, constant tension. Okay, constant stress, a lot of preoccupation with a particular thought, and you're not able to concentrate. All of these things are anxiety symptoms. Okay, a lot of restlessness in the behavior, a lot of irritation in the behavior. So all of this is anxiety. But when you have danger, like for example, now when I mentioned a line approaching us, or second, when there is an exam. Okay, this is something that, or there's an interview. Now this is something where we know that we don't know what is going to happen. Okay, there is certain level of uncertainties there, and of course we have a performance. So normal level of anxiety is absolutely okay, but then somebody fainting, okay, somebody going very very dizzy before an exam, now this is the problem. So anything which becomes a disorder is not only the symptoms. One is that the symptoms are very prolonged. Okay, like it is happening for more than a week and the person is not able to concentrate, and before every exam there's a problem. Second, that it starts to interfere with the normal course of life. Anxiety is present, that is okay, but anxiety is affecting with you not being able to give the interview, not being able to give the exam. That is when it becomes a disorder. Okay, so as a clinical psychologist here, I would really like to clear one particular thing here, that anything, any problem becomes a disorder when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life.
not just the symptoms. It is when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life. Okay, so also, we also have these manuals, like diagnostic manuals in psychology, like ICDs and DSM. So there are symptoms mentioned. Okay, but that doesn't always complete what we understand as a disorder. But then there are two other statements. One statement which says the time period for the anxiety, it should be minimum of 1 week, 1 to 2 weeks. And the third line which says is that it starts to interfere with a normal course of life. That is when any problem, even for depression, like even for anxiety, all of the problems, when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life, that is when you need help. Okay, so this is very important for us to understand that what is anxiety and what is normal anxiety and what is clinical anxiety. I hope you people have understood that when there is danger and when there's a uncertainty and there's some performance that you have to do, and then you're feeling these symptoms, it is okay. Okay, but when there's no danger, like for example, I don't know when my husband is going to come. I don't know if he'll be okay also, if my children will be okay or not, and I'm just constantly worrying. And it's just a normal day of life, normal day. And you're starting to feel all of this and you're not able to cook, you're not able to, sleep. So all of these things, when you start to interfere with the normal course of life, that is a clinical anxiety. Now, let's actually move to the other part where I'll tell you about the management. Okay. The good part about anxiety is that it is, 100% manageable. But when you work on this one particular thing that I'm going to tell you, coping. Okay. Of course, medicines are something that would lower down or decrease the anxiety, but then it is not, I would say, um, not very applicable for a very long run. You have to work on yourself to lower or decrease the anxiety. Okay, so the first thing is that we have to work on the coping skills. The only thing which will help you lower down the anxiety, lower down the interference anxiety is causing in your life, is through coping skills. And you have to increase your coping skills. If anybody out there who's listening to me and who's not able to deal with anxiety, it is not the anxiety, but it is the coping which is low. Okay, so how will you increase the coping? You very well can increase the coping, but how will you do that? First, I would start with a very basic thing, that if you out there you are having anxiety, first start with a physical exercise. Okay, physical exercise the research shows that there's a neurotransmitter inside our brain which is called as GABA. Okay, and serotonin. So these two neurotransmitters they go low when you have anxiety. So to have like an optimum amount of release for them, you need to have some physical exercise. I'm not saying that too much. Okay, but then at least start with a basic, like let's say 15 minutes a day will also help you lower down anxiety. Okay, now the second thing, let's move to the strategies where we can understand how can we help our anxiety. um so the first thing is that people with anxiety, there's a very common symptom that comes to me when I see patients, is that they don't feel control over their life. Okay, that is where the things are lacking. They don't feel that they have enough control over their decisions, over the way they feel, over how they react to situations. So first is developing control over our lives and how to do that. Okay, this might sound very sometimes very unreal to you, but then this is how it will work. Okay, I have a lot of patients who have honestly started to work on the strategies, and they see huge amounts of improvement in their behavior, in the way they see life now. Okay, so the thing is that I'll say a line here: anything worth doing, just do it badly the first time. Okay, like a lot of time for people who are suffering from anxiety is spent on the decisions, karna, if you should do it or not. um you know you stay in a lot of confusion if this is the right thing for you to do or not. So the most important thing here is that anything worth doing, just do it. Okay, don't wait for the consequences, don't think about the consequences, just do it. Okay, anything which is worth doing, Okay, anything which is safe for you to do, anything which is, like for example, you have to wear a dress and you don't know if it look good on you or not. Just buy it and wear it, see it yourself. Okay, so this particular change where you bring that certainty in your life, the thing that where you bring that altogether a decision in your life, when you see that you are the one who's controlling your life, that will bring a huge change. But this particular thing is like a constant and a consistent effort that you would need from your side. So I will say, one thing which is important here to understand, that it is not a day effort in anxiety or in any mental disorders, any emotional situation, that it's not a day that you make an effort and things will get better. No, you'll have to have a consistent effort for things to get better. Okay, so first, that taking control of your own life, that is important. That can be done by just doing the things which are worth doing, I'm saying, which are safe to do, which are something which that will help you further. So that is the first thing. And the second thing is where, you know um, now this is not only the research which says, but see, I specialize in anxiety. Okay, so when the patients come to me, I see one thing which has been very, very common, that they are not very kind to themselves. They are the one who's constantly criticizing themselves. It is not the other person, not only the other individuals, I would say, like agar if there are people who are present, but these people criticize themselves, that they are not good, they are not good looking, they are not the right person. They will not forgive themselves for certain things. Like I told you, like I initially started with an example, you remember, that that she felt defeated. It is her own words. I'm giving a very real life example, that the girl came to me and said that, ma'am, I felt defeated. So they are very, and it took her almost like more than a week to come out of that situation, because she was so embarrassed. It is very, very difficult for these people to forgive themselves, to be kind to themselves. So the first thing which is important here, oh sorry, the second thing which is important here is to forgive yourself. Okay, at the end of the day, every day, make it a point that you say that, you people do forgive others, but it is time to forgive yourself. You can be definitely, not perfect. Nobody can be perfect. So you tell yourself that, of course, okay, fine, I was not able to deal with this better. Fine, I will try to be a little better. But not that I was really, really bad. I can still, at least I had a lot of ideas, which means that I have knowledge. So, one, that forgiving yourself, being kind to yourself, showing yourself love, and also, being appreciating yourself. That is what is going to help you increase the coping skills. One is controlling your life. Second is forgiving yourself, being kind to yourselves, appreciating yourself. That will lower down anxiety, because your body, your mind will get a signal that yes, yes, I am feeling better, because you're getting the love. So just imagine one day, okay, I'll say, imagine that there's somebody in your life and who comes and appreciates you and says, oh, how beautiful you look, I mean, you're so beautiful. Now this particular thing is very important, because um, this will help you feel better. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Yes. So now what was I saying here? That now it is important for us to understand that we have to forgive ourselves. We have to work on controlling, giving control to ourselves. And yes, the example that I was giving here was that, there's somebody coming to you in a day and saying, oh, how beautiful you look. Wow, you look so amazing. Okay. So you'll see that happiness on yourself, on your face. You'll blush. Now I'm asking you to do this to yourself. Okay, to be kind to yourself. Okay, now you also, the second example here, that there's someone who's very close to you and they didn't talk to you very nicely. Okay, now you are very upset with them, but they come and say you're sorry and they say that they'll improve. Okay, and you forgive them. Now they also feel better and you also feel better and you move on. Now I'm asking you to do the same to yourself. Appreciate and forgive yourself. Okay. And now these are the two strategies which will help you increase the coping. And the third important strategy, okay, which is that we have to I'm before I start this third strategy, I'm not asking you to say that, you know, we our happiness depend on others, but it is important that we spend time because as what we define ourselves as. We define ourselves as human beings, and human beings are defined as social beings. Okay, so it is very important that we find that purpose and meaning in our life. That whatever we're doing, for example, we're studying. So we're studying because we really want to make our parents proud. Okay, I really want to reach up to that goal. And there is somebody, so finding a purpose because of with the other person, that there is somebody who's getting very happy that you're doing this particular task. Okay, that purpose, that meaning I'm talking about. That why are you doing this? Finding that. Okay, why are you doing this? Whatever you're doing in your life right now, whatever work you're doing, whatever work, I mean, in terms of studies, in terms of any religious practice, anything that you're doing, why are you doing that? Is there anybody who's getting happy because of it? So you're doing a great job. You're doing something for others also. Okay. When we were kids, we were told this one particular thing, and I remember this very clearly that if you make others happy, you'll get the happiness. So always finding that purpose in your life, that there is somebody that I'm making happy. At least there's someone who's happy with me. At least there's someone who's very proud of me, if not this particular day, but they were very happy of what I've done in my life. Okay, so that purpose, that meaning I'm talking about. So now I would actually leave you with certain questions here, but then this is where I really want to request you here that at the end of the day, tonight, have a talk with yourself that, one, that what will you be, if, for example, the first question is that if you try to take charge of your life, if you try to, you know, maybe, if, for example, in the past you must have done that you would just have done it, okay, done the thing that you've thought so much about. If you just have done it, what would be the change? Okay, one is this question. Second, that are you being very harsh on yourself? The self talk, is it very very harsh? So you have to have that introspection. And the third question, which is important, that what is it, why are you doing this particular thing? Who are you doing all of this for? Whatever you're doing in your life. Okay, so these three questions I leave it on you people here, that this is where I would like to conclude. And I would also like to conclude here that with two things. One, that it is not a day effort which will make you better. Okay, it is the consistent effort which will make you better. Second is that all of this is done through a technique called affirmations. Okay, affirmations are basically this emotional encouragement that you give yourself. You do to yourself, that you will make yourself happy, and that will help you be consistent. Okay, every day affirming yourself that yes, I have to kind to myself. Yes, I have to take charge of my life. Yes, anything worth doing today, I will do it only. I will not think much, I will just do it. Okay, yes, I will do things for other people too. Okay, so affirm yourself with these statements. On my Instagram page, which is Antarmana, I talk a lot about affirmations. I talk a lot about emotional encouragements that you can give yourself. It is very important, the talk we have with ourselves, the talk we are having with ourselves should be okay. I'm telling you, if you're able to work on the self talk we provide ourselves, we're going to have a huge difference in our lives. This is one thing which will automatically increase our coping skills. Okay, so again, last line, one thing, that consistent efforts will bring a lot of change in your people's life, and the self talk. Okay, so this is how I would like to conclude. I hope whatever I spoke on about anxiety here, it will be helpful. And one thing, that I talked about counseling here, I talked about self help here, but then also, if you think that you know um, somewhere you're not able to cope. Don't wait for things to get severe. We people here as psychologists, as counselors, we people are trained to help you. We have studied years to help you. Okay, so if you're not able to cope with it, just take help from us. Okay, we are all here for you. And even you don't have to like spend like, let's say, 10 sessions to feel better. If you take help at the initial time, when you start to feel all of this nervousness and worry without danger, then take help. Maybe in 5 sessions you will feel better. You don't have to wait for 10 sessions to feel better. Okay, so I wish you guys great lives ahead. I wish you guys a lot of happiness, a lot of kindness. Okay, and I hope you're able to feel better after the talk. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views, valuable advice, and insights with us on this subject. Our
Thank
friends
you.
listening are surely feeling more informed about anxiety and anxiety management and how they can change their approach towards various aspects.
Thank you.
Our second speaker for the evening is Miss Saroba Kabir. Ms. Aroba is a mental health therapist or counselor, founder of Enso Wellness with an experience of 8 years in the field. Aroba is a distinguished expert in the field of mental wellness and has been contributing to the society in innumerable ways. She specializes in relationship issues with self and others, identity crisis, trauma and addiction, corporate lifestyle stresses, and chronic illnesses. Ms. Aroba's work has been appreciated and published by many known publications like the Indian Express, the Financial Express, Vogue, NDTV Times, Times Now, ETV Bharat, and has been interviewed by many channels like NewsX and India Ahead for mental well being during the COVID times. I would now request ma'am to please enlighten our audience.
Thank you so much. I had no idea that this is what you are asking my introduction for, but I'm glad to see all this after such a long time. Thank you. And I'm really, really, it's amazing to be part of this wonderful webinar. And what Dr. Anchal was talking about, that was so enlightening, and full half an hour, I was just listening to her. So, with such simplicity, she put everything out there for all the audience. I am sure that must have helped a great deal. And thank you so much for inviting me here. Now, as we talked about anxiety, as she said, that it is normal to be anxious at times. It only becomes a problem when it starts hampering our regular life. It's like, I am not able to talk, I am not able to perform, I am not able to live my life to the fullest. Then it becomes a problem, right? Now, how do we get to know that we have reached to that point? Because if we are experiencing something, first of all, what happens is like we don't even realize it, we don't notice it. So I would say people around us definitely do notice. They keep telling us, you look changed, you sound changed, you have not been coming to meet us, you have been avoiding our calls. It can be in different scenarios, but they do tell you subtly, forcefully, but they do mention it. So take that seriously. Now, if I'm saying as a counselor, as a mental health therapist, how is counseling important? How does it help in anxiety management? There are various types of anxieties. It can be GAD, general anxiety disorder. It can be social anxiety disorder. In fact, this thing called selective mutism, which children or students do feel in colleges or schools. And disorders, OCD, overthinking, a lot of them. Now, when someone comes to us, first of all, we help them identifying where are they struggling in their life. What is it exactly which is bothering them? Now, how does that help? That helps them, one, becoming aware of themselves. Second, finding the coping mechanisms. That is a role of a counselor. When do I need to seek counseling? As I said, we most of the times let it, go. Okay, I'm not meeting my friends. I am upset. I am scared. It's okay. But anxiety is such a thing. If you are suffering from anxiety, you will see the difference. If it is a social anxiety, how she said, how Radha was going through the symptoms and the situations, the same thing happens to us. Ask yourself, are you somebody who gets scared before talking, things that we enter that room and we feel like very small, very little. We feel like, I don't know things. If I talk, what if I talk stupid things? What if I'm not appreciated? If I wear something, what if it is not liked by people? When that happens and it starts hampering your daily life, daily routine, you're missing your classes, you're having difficulty in relationship, you're not able to perform in your job, your health is getting bad, that is the time to seek counseling. Seek help, talk it out, even if it is the smallest of things. Like during the COVID times, a lot of my clients, which came much, much later, problem is when we have the problem, we don't pay attention to it. We are like, okay, fine, I'll get better on my own. We start looking for, Google ideas, Google solutions. But it does not always work. If I am experiencing something, even as a professional, I would still want to go to another professional. Why? It will save me resources. It will save me time, energy, health. So, and it becomes easier for another person to identify it. So, you should definitely seek help, reach out rather than trying to find self help. It's okay. If in your house you have a problem in plumbing, do you start fixing it on your own? No, you call a plumber, you pay maybe 500 rupees, in half an hour or 1 hour the job is done. It is the similar thing. If I have a problem, if I have cold or fever, I visit a physician. If I have a problem in my thoughts, if my relationship is falling apart, so many people are unaware of this, that the relationships they are in fall apart, or they have misunderstandings, or they have problems because of their anxiety, where they're not able to express themselves. That's why it's very important to go for counseling. Even if you don't have anxiety, I still say how they ask us to go for annual health checkups. No sugar, no blood pressure, no thyroid, no any other ailment, but we still go for medical checkups once a year, annual checkups. That's how you should go to a counselor, a psychologist, once a year, or once in 6 months, once in 3 months. It's just a routine check. Am I going in the right direction? We are human beings. We are blessed with amazing, amazing feelings, emotions. If guilt, shame, embarrassment, unhappiness was not required, we wouldn't have been given that. But we are given because it is also needed. But if any kind of emotion, pleasant or unpleasant emotion, it gets overwhelming, that is the time we need to seek counseling. And that's why it becomes so important to seek counseling. Now, I also want to add here, these causes. So this one wellness coach was talking about his experience, and he said, I am perfectly all right when I am out with my friends. At the age of 30, 35, I'm absolutely all right when I am out with my friends. I can sing, I can dance, I can talk, I can be this amazing person I want to be, and I am. But the minute I reach to my home, the minute I am around my relatives or childhood friends, I become this shy, introvert child. Now, what is that? That is because when he went through therapy, he realized it was because every time his parents will introduce him to someone, they will say, meet my son, so and so, he's a very shy child. So it took an impact It made an impact on his personality. He also started thinking that he's an introvert, he's a shy child, I'm a shy child, I'm a shy child. So he couldn't express, he couldn't be that person who he was in real, who he wanted to be in real in front of them. But when he got a different set of people in college, nobody knew him from his past. So he became altogether a different person, the person he wanted to be. So that's how, when she said that affirmations, the self talk, that's how it can impact us. Other people, whatever they talk to us, it can have a huge, huge impact. And that self talk becomes important. Now, can counseling get me rid of anxiety? I say that we all have anxiety. We all have anxiety. And if we don't have anxiety, anxiety is fear of unknown, right? Unpredictability. And our mind, our brain loves predictability. If we didn't have a fear of unknown, if we didn't have that anxiety, then we wouldn't give our best. We wouldn't stay cautious. We wouldn't stay careful. If I didn't have a fear of getting into an accident someday, I wouldn't be careful with my driving, right? But yes, when this fear gets too much, that becomes a problem. So if it is to a level, we can learn managing it, not getting there. In certain cases where this is less, it is there minor, we can get rid of it. But if it is gone, like for example, OCD is there, overthinking is there, or other things are there, we can learn to manage it. And that's what is important. Cure, I wouldn't say there is cure for everything. Even in physical medical conditions, there are conditions which are curable and there are conditions which are not curable, but are manageable. We can manage them, like diabetes can be managed, blood pressure can be managed. So that's how, if anxiety has gone to that level, it can be managed. But it is the beginning. We can understand, we can find the root cause, we can find the pattern. If it is, for example, separation anxiety, a lot of people have separation anxiety. But when you find out and then you go back, you're like, okay, my mother and father both were working, they used to leave me alone in home by lying to me. For example, telling me, you stay here, I'm going to another room. And then when I used to go to another room, my mother and father would have been gone. So that develops separation anxiety. When you find that root cause, I'm not saying it is for everyone, I'm just giving an example. When you find that root cause, you can work on it, and then you will not have that separation anxiety anymore. So that means, yes, it can be get ridden of, and sometimes it has to be managed all our life. In this world of commercialization of treatment, how do I know whom to trust? It is quite difficult. It is seriously difficult, because sometimes clients come to me and they say, I went to this and he or she had a very big name, charged good amount of money, but it didn't help me. So nowadays the world is all about social media. And when it is about social media or online media, you can find a good lot of information about people. So I guess you should Google them. You should read the reviews. And I wouldn't say that we counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists do have good many reviews, because not everybody wants to talk about their therapy, their counseling. End of the day, it is a stigma, right? That's what we are fighting for. We are creating an awareness. So you might not find the reviews, but the reviews you'll find that will really help you. Just see their presence online, just see their work, just talk to them. We call it therapist shopping, that you go from therapist to therapist until you find the best fit for you. Just because I wear clothes from Mango does not mean that that brand and that size might fit everyone, right? We're different people, we have different preferences. One size does not fit all. The same thing, I might be good for you, but I might not be good for your sister or your friend. So have a talk with the counselor. Talk to the person in person, like on call. Just have a random talk for 10 to 15 minutes. You will have an idea whether the person knows about it, not knows about it. And I would say, yes, therapy is expensive, little expensive, because end of the day, everybody has to pay bills. But it is the right investment. I will tell you like this. For example, I am a professional. When I started my career, I also used to go for therapy, and I still have a therapist. And my therapist charges me 7,500 or like something like that, and I pay it. Why? Because I know in 2 months or 3 months, if I'm paying that kind of amount, I will make X times of that amount, right? 7,000 investing in me will give me so much of clarity. I might make 7 lakhs. So it is an investment. How we invest in education, how we invest in other things, it is an investment. It's not a clothing, it's not a buying a car, the value will degrade and degrade and degrade. No, the value will go up and up and up what you have achieved from your therapy. But make sure that you have goals for your therapy. When you see the therapist on your first session, which is consultation, you make goals, and then you look at it on a scale of 0 to 10. Where am I after a month's therapy, or 2 months therapy, or 4 months therapy? I have this habit of asking couples, individuals. I ask them that when we started, we were here. Now tell me, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are we? So when they tell me we're at 7, we are at 8, I'm like, okay, that's good. That's wonderful. So just make those goals and make those milestones for yourself, that this therapy in this area of my life is going to help me in such way. I guess that's how counseling helps you. And as I said, you have to go for window shopping for sure, because the first therapist might not be the right one for you, but don't stop it. Do not stop it. Fighting the stigma. I know we are taught how to tie our shoelaces, or how to greet elders, or how to score well in school, how to wear right clothes, and we are not taught how to feel things, how to express those feelings, and how to resolve those feelings. We are not taught that. So we people, Achal, Astha, I am, and there are thousands of us out there who are trained, who are taught to entangle those feelings for you, help you resolve. And that's why it's important to reach out to a professional with an experience. It's important to, I still as personally, I still go for my internships to upgrade myself. Though after working for 8 years, I don't think so that is needed, but I still feel deep down that the market is upgrading, therapies are upgrading, I need to do that. I still go and work under professionals who are my seniors, so that it helps me. So I guess that is how we therapists can help you when you reach out. And talking, is it possible for you, if you are someone who goes for therapy, if you are someone who is considering therapy, if it is possible for you, talk about it. Tell your friend that, yes, I have been to therapy. Tell your brother or sister, yes, I have been to therapy, and it is absolutely normal. So far I have done, my Instagram account was recently hacked, so I lost all the content and data before, but I had conducted 3 series. One was 7 minutes, 7 p.m., 7 days, and one was stand up to stigma and share your story. And I had invited good celebrities, national and international, and they talked that they have taken therapy, which they never did before. And then share your story. Mein normal clients of mine who agreed to talk about their therapies, whether living with bipolar disorder, anxiety, depression, postpartum depression, or anything, they did talk about it, and they said how they got benefited. It is our responsibility to end the stigma, to create awareness that mental health is as important as physical health, and it is as normal as physical health. You can go to a physician without shame. You can go to a mental health doctor without a shame. So with that, I will conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for all that interesting information. Our audience listening surely feels more encouraged and informed about this topic. Counseling has indeed become so important in today's world.
Absolutely, it has. And in fact, it is not people who live with mental health illnesses. I have so many people from corporate sector who are from top leadership management positions, and they just come, they talk, and they vent it out, they find the resolutions, and they just go on. It's like kind of a coaching. But it is important that we talk, we express, and we seek help, because there is nothing wrong in asking for help. As I said, we call the plumber home, so it's absolutely okay to see a psychologist, counselor, therapist, mental health professional.
That's absolutely true, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our third speaker for the evening is Miss Asta Anand. Miss Asta is a mental health advocate and organizational psychologist from Christ deemed to be University, Bangalore. A student in training to become a full-time therapist from Xavier's Institute of Counseling Psychology, Mumbai. Best described as a learner learning to unlearn and relearn. She loves understanding the human mind and being a helping hand to people who seek to better themselves. She hopes to help people find a new and better perspective on life and learn to live and tackle their everyday hassles and issues independently. She hopes to achieve her dreams and fulfill her passion through this noble journey. She also has a page on Instagram that is all about psychology, mental health, and therapy called The Perspective Co. Now, I would request ma'am to please enlighten our audience.
Thank you so much, Nidhi, for that very wonderful introduction. I would also like to thank Ms. Aruba and Ms. Anshul for such amazing and kind words about therapy and about anxiety management. It was great to hear from you guys who've been in the industry for much longer than I have. So, I'm going to be talking about three things today. The first would be to understand why we need talk therapy, to understand what is the mechanism behind counseling. Because whenever, for example, we go for a job application or we go for a course in a college, we don't just go and apply for it, right? We first think about it, we first read about the course, the job description, or whatever we are applying for, and then we talk to people around and then we apply for it, right? Similarly, if we don't know what goes on in the process of counseling, it's really hard for us to actually go and seek therapy. So, I'll be talking about the methodology of counseling, what goes behind counseling, what really happens when you're in a therapy session. So, counseling uses a variety of methods. Counselors use variety of methods in which they help a person in whatever they're going through, right? They will help by posing questions and having the person understand and do some self introspection and self understanding. Often the answers to our life's questions are right in front of us, but we just don't know to what lens to wear, how to see those answers. And that's where the job of a counselor comes in. So, a counselor will help you try to identify what these questions are and how they should be answered. It's not always easy to answer these questions or even identify them, but often we have to make choices in our life that will obviously alter the world as we know it. So, a counselor is going to help a person through this so that they can move on with their life, move forward with their life, and be more happy and more fulfilling. So, it can be scary to change the world around us, but again, we need to take the plunge in order to feel more happier, feel more fulfilled. So, it's easy to get stuck in the rut and focus about things in life that don't really matter or are hindering with with our peace of mind. But often the fear of the unknown is what holds us hostage. So, in order to not feel hostage in our own life, in the own issues and the problems that we're facing right now, it is important for us to go and seek counseling. It's important for us to go seek therapy, seek help. So, a counselor will actually help a person through all of this, will help the hold the hand of the client and navigate through all the problems in order for the client to find out their own answers through therapy. So, choosing to go to counseling is not a bad choice at all. It is nothing to be ashamed about. Everybody, especially in my circle of friends and people I know in my life, go for therapy. I myself have gone for therapy for the longest time. And I have to tell you this, that therapy is, I think, the most liberating feeling of all. You go to the process, you went out, you talk about things that really matter to you, things that you hold close to your heart. Therapy gives you like a safe space where you can be vulnerable with the therapist and they will not judge you at all. They will provide you with unconditional positive regard and provide you with that environment where you feel safe, where you feel that you're being heard, that you somebody is listening to you out there. So there are counselors which will help you with anything and everything that you want. It could feel like you have a very small problem. For example, you feel like your friends don't acknowledge your efforts enough, or maybe it could be a catastrophic problem where your marriage is going haywire. It could be any problem, and a therapist can come to rescue. You can go seek therapy for the biggest and the smallest of problems. Your problem will be acknowledged, your problems will be heard, because that's the job of a therapist, right? We've been trained for 7, 8, 9 years. We study for all these years only to be able to help people out, right? So the second point here which is mentioned is ways to find a good therapist. This is, I think, extremely important. Like Miss Aruba also mentioned, sometimes we go on a therapy shopping spree where we don't know and we're looking out for a good therapist which will fit our needs and expectations, right? We need to know that my therapist is not going to be fruitful and might not help my friend, right? She might have different expectations and that might not be met by the therapist that I'm dealing with right now. So it's really important for us to find the right therapist, find the right counselor who can help you with your issues the way you want them to be dealt with, right? So the first step in order to find a good therapist would be to write down and set our goals. So the first step would be to actually understand why you need therapy in the first place. So if you need therapy, just write down and make a list. Write down why you need therapy. It could be for your self growth issues, it could be for your issues, for relationship issues, workplace anxiety, anything and everything that you feel you need to talk about in therapy. Write them down, jot them down on a paper, and like write down your expectations. Or maybe just write down, or maybe you just want to go for therapy because you want to know what goes on in the therapy process, right? So it could be any reason, but just write that down, set your goal. The second step would be to understand your resources. Like Mr. Ruba mentioned earlier, that therapy can be expensive. It's because even therapists need to pay their bills, right? And it's an investment after all. If you invest in a good therapist, you will gain the results that you're looking for. So you need to understand how much of monetary resources your pocket allows, right? A therapist could charge from 500 to 5,000 depending on their experience, how much they've worked in the field, and what kind of counseling or therapy they provide. So you need to figure out how much are you willing to pay. According to that, you find a therapist, right? The third point would be to identify prospective counselors. Now, just now, if you Google it and look for counselors near your area, you'll come across like 10 counselors. Just don't go and pick the first one and just start away with the therapy process. Try to identify, try to compare the counselors, try to compare their work, try to compare their credentials, try to find out which therapist could maybe probably understand your issues better, right? So asking your friends around, asking your family around for therapists and referrals is great, but sometimes it doesn't help, because if your friend's therapist is great for her, it doesn't mean it'll be great for you as well. So maybe finding them not through referrals but otherwise as well is also a great idea. The fourth step would be to actually set up your first session. Make sure that you're calm, you're composed, and have a water or bottle near you, and you're in a good area, and you're in a good state of mind before starting the first therapy session, because it's really important for you to feel calm in order to express and communicate it to your therapist after all. So once you're done with the first therapy session, once you've actually laid down the needs and expectations that you've had from your therapist, laid down all the issues and the problems, and have vented out properly for that 1 hour, after that, maybe sit down, introspect, and evaluate. Evaluation would be the fifth point. So you need to evaluate and you need to advocate. Will this therapist really help me fulfill my needs and expectations and what my issues are? So you need to see, because you need to advocate, because a therapist's job is to help you, right? They are here for you, for the client. So their job is to help you navigate through the problems and issues on the journey of self growth. So when you feel comfortable, when you feel at ease, when you feel safe in opening up to your therapist, that is when you know that you found the right therapist. So now we will move on to the third point on the slide, which is why you should give counseling therapy a try. Why give talk therapy a try? So people usually feel that counseling is for people who are suffering from great mental disorders. No, you're absolutely wrong. It is not just for those people, it's for everybody and anybody. Not only do successful people not fear therapy, they embrace it. So most people have grown up with the idea in their household, and especially the Indian mentality as such, where we feel that what goes on the inside, the internal stuff, it doesn't really matter. So they try to brush it under the carpet. But reality is such that if internal mechanism is not okay, it is going to disturb the external mechanism as well. Like Miss Anchal mentioned, if you have anxiety, it will come across in your physical symptoms as well. You will feel nauseous, you will have palpitations, you will have sweating. So all those are physical symptoms which are disturbing your external mechanism as well. So we need to understand, we need to take care of our internal mechanism as well. Like Ms. Ruba has also mentioned, mental health is as important as physical health. So therapy, so why do we need to take therapy and why we even try therapy? I will give you a few pointers which I feel should be good enough for you to understand why actually therapy can really help us. So first point would be that therapy effects persist for a long time. So like Miss Anchal mentioned earlier, that if you see a problem, if you sense it, go right away and start taking therapy. You don't have to wait for the problem to aggravate, right? So in the first 5 sessions only you'll start feeling better. So when you're in therapy, you're not just solving problems, you're actually unlearning toxic behaviors and learning new coping strategies which will help you in the long haul. So it's just that if you have anxiety, you just don't know how to cope with it, and the therapist will help you learn new coping strategies that can help you cope with that anxiety. The second point would be that physical symptoms are treated too. Psychological stress and difficulties can actually trigger and cause physical symptoms like sweating, palpitations, increased heart rate, and whatnot. When people don't let their emotions out, when you don't vent it out, you actually swallow it in. And that is likely to cause problems which can then be seen as physical symptoms. It can cause like a haywire in the external mechanism. So that is why talk therapy is extremely important, because it also caters to the physical symptoms. The third point would be that it gives us a whole new perspective. Therapy not only helps you understand yourself better, it also changes and alters your perspective towards the world. It makes you wear a new lens altogether. When we constantly hold negative thoughts, when we are constantly negative in our life, we also make a lot of assumptions about other people as well who are in our life. So maybe when you start taking therapy, when you learn and grow through that process, you wear on a new lens, you wear on a new perspective, not just about yourself, but about other people as well. The fourth point would be, and this is, I think, my favorite point, is that you are not alone. Almost everyone goes through issues in their life, be it big or small, that really doesn't matter. But everybody goes through problems in their life, and more often than not, people actually do seek help, even if they don't talk about it, even if they sometimes feel that it's a stigma in our society to not talk about therapy. People do seek help. Seeking help is definitely not shameful, and living with the issues all your life, that's heavier, that's hurtful, that's painful, and that's shameful. Seeking therapy can never be shameful. You are not alone, because like a lot of people just like us seek therapy. Like I've told you, even I seek therapy, and it's great, it's a liberating feeling after all. So I'm not saying that misery loves company, but trying to find people around you who seek therapy or are going through similar issues can really help you understand and give you a push that okay, maybe therapy is not that bad after all, and maybe I can seek therapy because it's only going to do greater good to me, right? And the last point would be that it enables you to teach the next generation a better way. Because our forefathers and people who are like adults in our home, they haven't really been accustomed to the idea of therapy, so they look down upon therapy. So if you grew up in a household where therapy was looked down upon and where seeking help was a shameful act, maybe if you consider and seek therapy now, then that will make sure that your future generations don't have to feel guilty or like shy away from seeking help when they really need it. People are now starting to open up about their struggles and issues, and like this gives hope to the new generation after all. Like I see a lot of Instagram pages talking about people's experiences in terms of their mental health journey and like how they overcome so many things in life, and it's really brave of them to come out and talk about these things. And once everybody does that, once everybody starts to normalize the fact that seeking therapy is just like going to a clinician for a health checkup, it would be that simple for everybody. And like it will help people make mental health their priority. So I would just like to end on this note, that we do not have to feel shameful about seeking therapy, because seeking therapy is a very very normal act. because mental health is as important as physical health, and mental health is physical health, because if you're not strong and happy and like sane mentally, then it is going to affect your physical health as well. So I would like to end on that note. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your views on this topic. I'm sure our audience now has a deeper understanding about therapy and how counselors can guide people to find the solution to their problems. Now, we would like to share our app launch MentorMitr. The app is available on Play Store. You all can download the app only on Android for now. iOS will be available very soon. The download is free of cost. The app is available in India, Philippines, China, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Italy, Malaysia, Nepal, Russia, Spain, and Thailand. It will be launched in other countries soon. Kindly download our app and get help in your career. If you have any queries with the app, please feel free to contact us or drop a message at contact@mentormitri.com or connect@mentormitri.com. Let us move on to the Q&A session by our audience. Our first question for the evening is by Feroz Akbaro. An interesting question. Sometimes even counseling may not work for certain people. What could be the solution or therapy for such cases? Miss Aruba, can you please enlighten us?
Okay, first of all, I don't think so that when we take therapy or counseling, we do not come with a resolution for it. We definitely come with coping mechanisms, strategies. As I said, not everything can be cured, but definitely we can learn how can we cope, how can we manage it, how can I still I have the, for example, I have a client and she lives with OCD. Now it's about cleaning, and she has this tendency of wanting to clean things then and there when somebody enters her home. So now she knows about her issue, about her challenge. She knows it that I have this thing and it makes me breathless. That that fidgety feeling comes in, all that we sometimes we feel that perfectionism, fidgeting, it's all right. No, it can be a form of anxiety. And now she knows this, so what she does is like she keeps counting on her fingers, like like this, until the guest leaves. So she keeps her hands like down in her lap and she keeps counting on her fingertips, so that one, the guest does not get disturbed. Second, she also continuously does not think about I have to clean it. So what she thinks about is the counting, right? And that diverts her mind. So I don't think so that therapy or counseling, maybe you have not found the right therapist, you should go to somebody else. There would be a solution. And now, not always our anxiety or our mental health disorders are because of our environment. There could be other things also, genetics also, which is very rare, but yes, heredity also, that could also be there. Sometimes brain chemistry, there could be other reasons also. So if you are not being able to get help from a counselor, please visit a psychiatrist. Medication can help you. We have this tendency of not going to a doctor because we feel the medicines make us zombie, the medicines are not good for our health, makes us put on weight. But we should look for the positives of the medicine rather than going for the side effects a lot. So if the counselor is not able to help you, please visit a doctor, go to a psychiatrist. There would be some solution you can come up with, they can come up with, and you can find it. That's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Miss Aroba. That was very helpful. We have a lot of questions about how to deal with anxiety, but a pretty commonly asked question is how can students deal with anxiety since they experience a lot of anxiety in school and or in university. So it's been asked by Flor Bautista and a couple of others too. It's also been asked by Soma Gupta. So, Miss Asta, can you please give us some of your insights on this?
Sure. So, anxiety with students can be very different from anxiety that adults deal with because they deal with a lot of things altogether, like work, relationship pressure, and handling their household and so many other things. But when it comes to a student, students deal with different kind of anxieties. For example, they have peer pressure and the kind of career choices that they need to make in the future. Apart from that, they also deal with the fact that they're studying right now and they need to perform well constantly. So I feel that maybe trying to understand your triggers in terms of anxiety, like where is the anxiety budding from, where is the root cause of anxiety, can really help us understand how to tackle with it, right? So if you understand your trigger, for example, you know that you have to go for a party, like Miss Angel had a really great example for in terms of Radha, right, where she had to go for that party, but she was feeling really restless and she had all these physical symptoms of anxiety where she wasn't able to like really understand should she even go for the party or not, because it was really hampering with her mental peace. So understanding the trigger points as to why something is changing in your mind, something you see those physical symptoms, and understanding those physical symptoms could be the first step in order to understand that okay, maybe these are the physical symptoms that are causing me stress, that are causing me anxiety, and then work on those.
Can you speak a little more about it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what Asta said, absolutely right. I second that when she said, but I really want to tell the students, what you are dealing with right now, that actually is very, very important. And it is not that your problems are any smaller. At my age, maybe future investments is a very big thing, but at your age, somebody breaking your heart is a very, very big thing. So, first of all, cut yourself a slack that, okay, I'm not the only one who is going through this. We all are going through the same thing. Okay. And second thing, you have a different problem, I have a different problem, but we all have all bigger problems in our life. Number one. Number two, there are 4 areas of life we ask people to focus on. It's like you can prioritize it. I'm just giving the number of areas. It's like family, career, socialization, personal. Family is your immediate family around you. Socialization is your friends, peers, meaningful connections, and then family, career, socialized career is could be studies for you and job for me. And then personal is I me myself. Now I me myself is about, am I reading good stuff which is feeding me, which is helping me to grow as a human being? Am I exercising well enough that my physical and mental health is staying healthy? Am I watching the right kind of content? Am I connected with right kind of people? Am I meditating? So you need to see where are you lacking. Sometimes students do all their studying, so there is no refuel and there is no rejuvenation. So what you need to do is play a game. It can be Scrabble, or it can be a basketball, it can be any. Play a game, do your exercises, eat right, make goals for yourself, make timetables for yourself, because as I said in the beginning, mind likes predictability. So if your mind knows that this is the time I'll go for a game, this is the time I talk to a friend, this is the time I watch a movie, it loves it. I don't know nowadays, but when we were younger, late 80s and early 90s kid. So our teachers used to make us this timetable: 7 a.m. this, 8 a.m. this, 10 a.m. this. So that comes very handy. Have a routine, have a consistency, and that will definitely get your anxiety down. And if you don't know how to meditate, do breathing exercises, even if 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but do that. And your anxiety definitely will come down. And try to talk to somebody who's around you. It can be a friend, it can be your parent, it can be anybody. And don't count on one friend. Just don't have, we have this habit when we are teenagers, we want to have one that best friend. No, have different friends. This friend is for studies, this friend is for gossiping, this friend is for outing, this friend is for this friend is for this. Because if one friend goes away, we have all four other friends to talk to. Okay, just do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, there are a bunch of questions here, but I think we need to conclude the session soon. So I really hope that the audience can reach out to our speakers and get their doubts clarified. And I would like to thank all our speakers as well as the audience for giving us your time and support. Thank you so much for attending and engaging in today's session with us. Lastly, I would like to repeat the steps to avail the e-certificate. Attend the full webinar. Once you see the thank you displayed on the screen, there will appear a link to the Google Attendance form in the chat box. Click to mark your attendance and get the feedback form emailed. Fill the questionnaire that you receive on the mail for the details. Follow our page on Instagram and Facebook. If the above stated steps are followed, an e-certificate will be automatically mailed to you. You can contact us through any of the above mentioned platforms with your questions, feedback, and suggestions. Thank you. Hope to see you next Sunday.